individuals are. We have seen some of the decals and the things that they were wearing, but we need to.
So can you clarify that? Do you know their names, the names of the officers, or agency, or tell me a little bit more about that?
Also, do you believe they're federally? I mean, you didn't answer the question.
Yes, we think they're federal agents. We think they're related to ICE. We don't know their names. We haven't publicly posted their photographs nationwide if anybody wants to tell us, and we're not intending to do that. But we believe that there were federal agents working under the ICE surge.
Now, these photographs, were they wearing masks in them? Are these photographs from the scene, or are they photographs from elsewhere that you were able to? Photographs
from the scene, and some of them were wearing masks. Yes.
But others unmasked?
Yes.
You said you needed the officers or agents' reports. How many reports are you looking for, and is that all you need for the reports?
Well, the reports are a starting place, and under our practices here, everyone involved that was using any force or involved would be writing a report. Now, we know that even though everybody's supposed to wear body cameras, we know ICE has only got one per group now. So whether or not more than one person is writing a report, but whoever was in charge of that operation would write a report outlining why they were there, what they were doing. And if they were in the car with Mr. Tao when they took him, they would write a report there, or another officer with Mr. Tao would write a report. We don't think they had body cameras running while they were in the car. That would be very helpful, but we don't think that exists. So yes, we're looking for reports, and after those reports are reviewed by us and the county attorney's office, then the question of next steps comes in. And we may want to interview them. And there are several ways to interview them. One is just come on in and talk to us. The other is through subpoena.
And Karen, just one more thing too, is as a part of the complaint that was filed today, there's an exhibits or a appendix to it, right? There you will find the initial TUI demand letter that this office sent with regard to this investigation. And in that letter, there's a very specific list of things that we think would be helpful for us to be able to get to the truth.
That's right.
And so was there body camera video at all, of the original incident? I know Sheriff said probably not from in the car. Do you know if there's any footage?
We don't believe there was. We don't believe there was. But we don't have adequate knowledge to make a determination.
A lot of us had covered County Attorney Mary Moriarty's press conference regarding, she kind of stated it like it seems like things were back to normal as far as the relations with the federal partners and the sharing and stuff like that. But this kind of shows that it's really not back to normal.
Not with regard to this case, and we followed the very specific steps that Hennepin County has done. The only difference here is that they commenced their TUI litigation in Washington, D.C. We've chosen to venue the case here in the District of Minnesota.
Why do you think there was cooperation in the Hennepin County, Minneapolis cases that you're stonewalled over here?
Well, I think procedurally we need to understand that.
I
I think procedurally, what happened over there is they followed the similar procedures that we are doing here. There was a request as normal, hey, would you please share this information through our normal channels that we have? Denied. There was then the TUI demand letter, which is a formal request with regard to the TUI legal framework. Denied. Then they filed a civil lawsuit, much like we're doing now. Many, many weeks later was that cooperation in conjunction with what's happening now, right?
Is that the magic sauce is the lawsuit?
I don't want to speculate, but I will say that we can't ignore the fact that cooperation began to occur after a formal lawsuit was commenced. And certainly one of the things that we are hoping for is cooperation. We are in this position right now because those channels have not worked, they've broken down, and our requests have been ignored. Also, we've agreed to many extensions to which they've blown past.
Have you ever done this before? Did another, sue for this sort of thing?
Not like this, not in this specific instance.
Just for housekeeping, the complaint, the TUI letter, and our press release will be on the website right after the press conference. think we have one more question.
What's your son, how is the victim doing? You know, spoken to him or Mr. Chow?
Go ahead, you go ahead. I mean, you've been talking to his attorney, you're probably,
But-
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah, you've had.
Yeah, we've had conversations with his counsel. They're qualified, really good attorneys who are very much zealous advocates of Mr. Tao. I believe, from his information to his attorneys, he's in good spirits. But no doubt this has been obviously havoc on his life. And frankly, any victim, and in this case, alleged victim, until we have the probable cause, until we see the reports and all that, so I'm going to use the word alleged, when they suffer an intrusion like this, an invasion into someone's home, a public embarrassment of being dragged out, guns drawn, all of those things, then being taken away into a vehicle by masked and armed men, I can't imagine what that must feel like. So on a personal note, I have no idea how he's feeling now. And as we understand, trauma does go up and down and flows in ways that we can't anticipate.
Is he suing on his own, do you know? Or is it I know that'd be a question for.
I don't think we should answer.
Yeah, and I'm not going to comment on any other litigation that he might be involved in with his attorneys.
I just want to say about where we're at. The justice system that we have here in America is two-pronged. It's one, to get accountability for the suspects that violated the law and get justice for the victim. The second prong of what we're doing and what the justice system is designed to do is to send a message to others that might want to do something similar, that you're going to be held accountable. We're not going to tolerate this here in Minnesota. And so in addition to getting justice for Mr. Tao, we do want to send a strong message that this isn't acceptable in Minnesota.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have paper copies of the press release. I was over here if people want.
All right, you've been listening live to the Ramsey County Attorney's Office, joined with the Ramsey County Sheriff as they announce that they are going to take the Department of Homeland Security to court over what they call a refusal to cooperate during an investigation into the arrest of a Hmong American man last winter during Operation Metro Surge. We want to shift gears here because we have another live press event happening that we want to hop into. Attorney General Keith Ellison is announcing a lawsuit against an e-cigarette manufacturer. Let's dip into that live now.
Push these tobacco products on them. Let me introduce you to Mei-Lin Nguyen. Come on up, Mei-Lin. She's a member of the student action team with the Association for Non-Smokers. She's a youth ambassador for the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. And she's a senior this fall at Roseville Area High School. And along with her, presenting will be Clara Seeley, who's a graduate of White Bear Lake Area High School and a member of the student action team with the Association for Non-Smokers. Please welcome Mei-Lin and Clara.
Thank you. My name is Mei-Lin Nguyen. It's spelled M-Y space L-I-N-H-N-G-U-Y-E-N. I will be a senior at Roseville Area High School this fall, and I also serve as a Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids National Youth Ambassador for Minnesota.
Hi, my name is Clara Seeley, C-L-A-R-A-S-E-E-L-E-Y. I just graduated from White Bear Lake Area High School, and we are student advocates that have been working over the last 3 years to reduce the harm that commercial tobacco has had on our community. We want to thank the Attorney General's Office for their work to prevent youth nicotine use. This topic is extremely important to us because of the effect nicotine has had on our peers and in our communities.
I was first exposed to nicotine products in middle school and continued to see that throughout high school. I've witnessed peers choosing nicotine over their education and even missing class because of how strong their addiction is. I've seen firsthand how Loon has aggressively marketed its products to young people like me. From eye-catching billboards across our state to brightly packaged, candy-inspired flavors like peach emoji and orange fantasy, their marketing is clearly designed to appeal to younger audiences. Beyond traditional advertising, Loon has also promoted its products through social media, events, and giveaways of branded merchandise, creating an image that makes vaping seem fun, trendy, and harmless. These strategies are hard to ignore, and they contribute to an environment where nicotine use feels normalized among my peers. Young people across Minnesota are full of potential. This company has continued to increase in popularity across the state. There is a deep sense of pride associated with the loon, a symbol that represents Minnesota's natural beauty, symbols, and values. Seeing that image appropriated to market addictive nicotine products is deeply disappointing. Instead of representing the best of our state, it has been used to build brand recognition and attract new customers, including people.
Again, we want to thank Attorney General Ellison and his office for recognizing that this is a problem. Nicotine addiction is no joke, and we need to do as much as we can to prevent young people from starting. We as young people shouldn't be burdened down with addiction. We deserve the chance to build healthy futures without becoming addicted to nicotine products, ones that have been pushed at us by companies like Loon. Thank you.
Good job. And so now I think that we're come to the end of what we want to present to folks today. Let me say thank you to your parents as well, and everyone with the Association for Non-Smokers. We're very grateful for your work. So with that, if you have questions on this topic, be happy to take a few. If you want to talk to me about something that doesn't have anything to do with this topic, we can take those later.
I mean, battle with nicotine, tobacco has been going on years and years. What kind of challenges? How big of a battle is this one going to be?
Well, they never seem to stop, do they? It's legal for them to sell products to adults who can make decisions, but they're never satisfied with that. They're always trying to hook young people, and they're not allowed to do that. So we're just going to keep on, as long as they keep pushing it, we're going to keep on fighting. So thanks a lot for that question.
And then actually one more, you said you've kind of run into this company before.
Yeah.
Do you expect much will change this time around?
Well, they have not shown a willingness to just see the light and smell the coffee, if you know what I mean. They seem like they're looking for some tough love, and so that's our job. So we'll be doing that. But thank you all for coming today. Appreciate it very much. And special thank you to my staff, who always does a wonderful job, and to all of the families of the Association for Non-Smokers. I mean, that's a good group. You guys take Attorneys General or anything like that? Okay,
They're one of us.
See what you can do. All right. Thank you all very much. All right. That's it. Good job. What do you think?
All right, you were just listening to Attorney General Keith Ellison, who announced a lawsuit against a local e-cigarette manufacturer called The Loon. They claim that the manufacturer is violating Minnesota's prohibition on deceptive vapor products and Minnesota's general consumer protection statutes. He was joined with members of student action teams and the Association for Non-Smokers as they announced that lawsuit. We are also following an event that's about to take place live at Target Center. So the Lynx game that took place today at noon at Target Center against the LA Sparks ended with an injury of one of the Lynx's star players. So Olivia Miles got hurt during the end of the game during the fourth quarter. It looked like she stepped on a defender's foot and planted her foot awkwardly. So we are expecting an update from the Lynx on her injury. Obviously, this is big news for sports fans here in Minnesota and for that team because Olivia Miles is a superstar. She has been named Rookie of the Month for the second month in a row. She's in the running to win WNBA Rookie of the Year. So lots of eyes on this injury right now as fans want an update on her status. And then, of course, we are also covering the extreme heat warning that is in effect until 9 p.m. on Thursday, as well as the wildfires that continue to burn in northern Minnesota as evacuation orders have been expanded now. There's now a new evacuation order for the Echo Trail area, north and west of Ely. So we're going to keep you updated on all of that. But first, we're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on Fox 9 all day. Well, we are in an extreme heat warning until Thursday at 9 p.m. Temperatures well into the 90s, and that heat is going to stick around for the rest of the week. Some headlines here. Big news in the Minnesota gubernatorial race as President Donald Trump has officially endorsed MyPillow founder Mike Lindell in the Republican primary, calling him one of America's greatest and most hardworking patriots in a Truth Social post this morning. Lindell, a longtime Trump ally, is competing in a crowded GOP field as Republicans hope to flip the open governor's seat this November. And in Washington today, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche defended his leadership of the Justice Department during a contentious Senate confirmation hearing, answering questions about the department's independence, the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files, and federal immigration enforcement. Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar pressed Blanche over the Justice Department's refusal to cooperate with Minnesota investigations into fatal ICE shootings here, while Senator Tina Smith also challenged his handling of federal law enforcement and accountability. And we continue to follow the wildfires that are raging up in northern Minnesota. 17 fires are now burning across the Superior National Forest, including 3 inside the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness. The Boundary Waters remains closed. Evacuations continue near Ely, while those at the end of the Gunflint Trail near the Canada border are being told they need to be ready to leave at a moment's notice. Earlier this week, Governor Tim Walz declared a peacetime emergency. He has now extended that emergency as he's deployed the National Guard to help fight these fires. The fires have currently burned 55 1,000 acres. And of course, all of that smoke is impacting air quality in the Arrowhead region, and even now down here in the metro, as Minnesota's North Shore is experiencing some of the worst air quality in America right now. You're taking a look at the wildfire map right now. The fire that is causing these evacuations near Ely is the Camp Fire. But as multiple wildfires continue to burn, now attention is being focused at the end of the Gunflint Trail as a fire burning on the Canada border right there continues to creep closer into Minnesota, and they've been asked to be prepared to leave. Authorities have also issued new evacuation orders for the Echo Trail area north and west of Ely. So that evacuation that took place north of Ely yesterday just continues to expand. I also want to show you this photo that someone posted on their social media that we've been given permission to use. So this is a photo in Ely. The one photo on, what would that be? Your left, your right, my left, was taken at 1 p.m. yesterday versus 6 a.m. today. So the view in less than 24 hours has completely changed as Ely seems to be blanketed in smoke and even embers and ash falling from the sky. So a very serious situation up there in northern Minnesota. But of course, we do have to clarify that not every part of northern Minnesota and the Arrowhead region is in an evacuation order. There are still parts of the state that are open for business, like Grand Marais. And but it's obviously a rapidly changing situation, and we will continue to update it. We do know that they are continuing to go from campsite to campsite in the Boundary Waters and try and make sure that everyone who has been portaging, backcountrying, camping out there does get out. They have had to rescue 17 people via the air, so they used planes and or a helicopter to get these individuals out and to safety. So very serious situation, and a situation that continues to develop as 55,000 acres have now burned. I want to bring in my producer, Kara Savage. So Kara, we've been following this closely, and you know, I think the most interesting part right now, the thing that we're watching closely, is what's going on at the end of the Gunflint Trail. So those individuals are being told you need to be ready to go at a moment's notice. And you earlier talked to the owner of the Gunflint Lodge, who gave you a little bit of an update on what they're going through, and he's going to join us in the show later.
Sorry to cut you off, Courtney, but we've got the links getting started here, so I think we should.
There we go.
Go to that.
Okay. Yes, so this is a press conference.
You know, I mean, K-Max was playing
regarding
great, the stretch of games for her. You know, just her maturity, her reads, you know, finding easy baskets for herself, obviously for the team. She's getting so much attention. And, you know, Courtney, and then defensively, I thought we were pretty solid. He had a nice little 5-point run there. However we got there, it was a nice 5-point run, and found a way to close it out.
Coach, I know no official update, but Liv did, you know, come back to the bench and was there for her teammates. Did she give you any sense of, you know, how she was, you know, feeling in those conversations or anything like that?
It's very similar to the question I was just asked. No.
All right. Then on Ola, her game got more minutes out of her. When she entered the game in the first half, I think I counted 3 deflections from her right away and forced a backcourt violation. Just what she brought to the table defensively, specifically, you know, how big was that?
I mean, activity, you know, at really both ends. She's aggressive and, you know, gives you the hustle plays. And, you know, we're really on her defensively about, you know, you got to defend multiple actions without fouling. And so what is she, 21 years old, 22 years old? You know, learning, this is her first year of, you know, playing meaningful minutes, and she grows, you know, week by week, and, you know, understanding a lot more. And so each game that she gets a chance to get in there and being part of those meaningful minutes and contributing, right, really builds her confidence and helps our bench.
And Coach, how do you, you know, describe the atmosphere today? Obviously, with all the kids, every year you guys do it. It's super fun. Just talk about the atmosphere.
Yeah, you know, we talked about it before the game with the players, and what a meaningful day it is for us that, you know, so many kids, girls and boys, being in the building, excited as all get out to be there, knowing all the words to all the songs, and gives us that unique energy. And more than anything that we talked about, that you're making an impact, you're affecting change. These young girls that are watching and young boys that are watching, a girl can dream, about playing the WNBA. Maybe there's a one little interaction, or maybe something a player did on the court that they connected with a player and it changed them, and now they can see themselves in it. And for the little boys, right, to be showing up and normalizing, what women do on the basketball court and the way that it's talked about. These are our future leaders. And so it's always one of the more meaningful days that we have in our league.
For sure. And then I also want to talk about Natasha's game. She was banging down low. It might not have popped up on the stat sheet, but some of the stuff she did, deflections, just rebounding at the right time, blocks. Just talk about her impact as well today.
Yeah, you mentioned the deflection. She was our deflection winner. As a team, we were north of 30, which is a really good game for us, and she had 8 of them. And so, I know, she had a couple of easy attempts, little, bunnies that she didn't cash in on, but, like you said, she affected winning. With that end of the floor, as well as her passing, with 6 assists. And so we count on Tashi heavily, whether she's scoring in pick and roll or, the other things. And, her veteran maturity was helpful in this game.
Cheryl over here. You talked about K-Mac, just this run that she is on.
Yeah.
I mean, just how it's nothing new. We've seen her do this before, but it just seems so crucial to what's going on here.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the beginning of the season, Mac, when I say struggle, just maybe in terms of percentage wise. And so I know that, we had a level of excitement, that we had the number one offense for a long time without Mac's, play that she's currently going through. And so we knew, that we would get to this space, and her consistency and her approach to the game, and not getting frustrated when a shot doesn't go in. Like, she missed her first 3 threes, I think. And what I have a great appreciation for is this is somebody that's way more than a 3-point shooter. Obviously, the gravity of the 3-point line is immense, but her ability to play and recognize how she's being guarded, and countering how you're being guarded and still getting an easy basket has been really impressive.
You struggled to start both halves, but you had 30 points off turnovers.
Yeah.
Is that something you work on, the transition offense? And that?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we want to do defensively. We don't tell them we seek deflections in which we think leads to possible, turnovers and conversions. And it's something we've been talking about for a while. We've been a pretty solid team there. And when we get those points, I think we're number 2 in the league in points off turnovers. And so this will be a nice boost to that. It's a big part of our offense.
First, shout out to the Minnesota Vixens, who are playing for national championship.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, they are. Saturday in Canton.
Yep, the 25th. No, Saturday, 25th. Yep.
Yes.
So absolutely.
Yep.
So you talk about Kayla and her contribution as a leader and what she's doing. Can you speak about Courtney and how she's the overall success on the court and off the court, and the role that she's stepping in right now as pulling and shooting guard, her natural position? Yeah,
she's really enjoying that. And Courtney, we're having to sub a lot more. This is sort of a tough stretch for us, I think, in the league. And we've been on 10 for a while. We got off to such a fast start, and we're that runner, that ran really fast and is right now trying to really push themselves to get to that finish line. The finish line for us is the All-Star break right now. And so the number of players that we're trying to get out of the game, and then Courtney having to take on going back to the one. And in this game, what I shared with her was, we got some players that, maybe have some tired legs or heavy, or McBride's not on the floor. And that we needed her, right, to help someone like live out, like go get you easy baskets, go be a dog, go get a bucket. And we put the ball in her hands a few times, and she, she cashed in. Mostly we had a couple out of timeouts that she was really good in. I thought her second half, her leadership was impressive. And talk about off the court, and the players have a lot of fun getting to be herself. And this is such an incredible time, because 20 years ago, that would not have been, what she'd been able to do. And so, celebrating, Courtney for who she is has been so fun for our franchise, and any way that we can amplify her, off the court, we're there for her.
You talked about putting these pieces together with the All-Star break approaching. How hopeful are you that we may see Fee before the All-Star break?
Yeah. We had a game less than 48 hours ago, and I think that question was also asked on that day, so I appreciate your persistence. We're about 48 hours closer. That's what I would say. Okay. I appreciate the question and understand it.
Coach, when we look at your team, it seems like on any given night, any player can step up. What type of luxury is that for a coach to know that if one person's struggling, you have a number of other players you can call on?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously really important. It's hard to do it with, only, 3 good players or only your starters. Our bench, they're growing. They're growing in their confidence, and we're using them more. And so I think that only helps in terms of the experience and when we're in hard situations. And you look at, Hamzova last game, big minutes that, we don't win that game, without her coming in there and, getting us some easy baskets and some rim pressure. And she too, who spent first half of the season being a development player and not utilized that much because of the injuries on the right side of the roster with the bigs. And now she's getting her time. So she had been putting her time in, and, we've been coaching her pretty hard, when she's not obviously on game night, outside of game night. And so she was ready for the moment. I can't tell you how much it helps the starters. And these are obviously, Oliver. This is Oliver's teammate, Elijah. You want to shout out PVU? Go PVU, or the soccer buddies? Huh?
Did we actually make the team? You missed the try.
Well, do we know? Is it final, Coach?
Yeah, they both made the team.
They both made the team. Hey. All right. Thanks, guys. All right.
All right. You've been listening to head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, Cheryl Reeve, talk about that game today against the LA Sparks. The biggest topic of that press conference, which Reeve did not seem to want to talk about, was Olivia Miles, who seemed to get hurt at the end of the game, left the game early. It happened during the fourth quarter, and it looked like she stepped on a defender's foot and planted awkwardly, presumably something to do with her ankle, but Reeve did not want to really discuss that. So we are shortly going to talk to the owner of the Gunflint Lodge. So as we continue to cover the wildfires that are burning in northern Minnesota, the Gunflint Lodge remains open. But at this moment, the end of the Gunflint Trail is an area that officials are saying you need to be ready to go, which has impacted them. And he's going to give us an update from that area in just a little bit. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll have him on. Stay right there. All right, thanks for joining us. I'm Courtney Godfrey. We are following major fires in northern Minnesota today. So we have more than a dozen fires burning, about 17, 3 inside the boundary waters, which means that the entire boundary waters has closed. It's the first time that they've closed off the boundary waters since 2021. It's a very rare occurrence, and right now officials are going campsite to campsite in teams of 2 in canoes to alert any campers who have yet to get out. Also right now, we're keeping an eye on yet another fire. What's impacting Ely right now is the Camp Fire. Another fire burning near the Canadian border is now threatening homes at the end of the Gunflint Trail. So those individuals have been told to be ready to go in a moment's notice as that fire continues to move. We right now have John Fredrickson, the owner of the Gunflint Lodge, on the line. John, I know we talked to you a few days ago and you were still open, still encouraging people to come visit, but it does look like the scenery has changed quite a bit since we last chatted.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than it was a few days ago. It's the bad thing is it's a little bit smokier. The good thing is there's no wind right now. The storm or the fires moved a little bit the other day. Today we got put into at Gunflint Lodge. We got put into a ready mode, which is kind of the first level. But I wouldn't say we're threatened on the Gunflint Trail. It's just that we are we're aware and getting ready and making plans just in case.
Okay. You talked about how the conditions have changed. The wind has died down, and that was really not on firefighters' sides. But the temperature has also dropped significantly today.
Yeah, it's probably 30 degrees cooler than the last time I talked to you. It's much more pleasant as far as that's concerned. But that also helps the fire. You know, it's the humidity levels come up, the winds die down, all that helps. And actually, we had a few sprinkles of rain today already. So we're hoping that keeps going so that we get more rain and start putting those fires out, because the Forest Service has a lot of work to do to get a handle on those.
Yeah, and I know the U.S. Forest Service in a press conference just a short while ago called this just a temporary pause because they fear that the warm weather is coming back and that there is not enough rain in the forecast. Talk to me about your current status. I mean, are you still welcoming in guests?
Yeah, for sure. We're still open. I mean, this is the peak of our season, so unless it gets quite a bit worse, we're gonna keep operating the resort and the restaurant and keep everything going. We're doing all the things we're supposed to do with the ready piece. You know, planning what would happen in an evacuation, making sure all of our guests and our staff are safe, and doing all those efforts. But we're still open. We're still running boats out on the lake. It's glass calm out here, which is kind of nice. The smoke is an issue, and if people with respiratory issues, obviously that's a little bit more of a problem. But we're still doing what business we can.
The annual Gunflint Trail canoe races usually take place at your lodge. You did have to cancel those.
Yeah, well, we actually postponed it. We realized, and after yesterday, the Seagull and Saginaw Lake areas, that zone was put up into from ready to set, which is a little bit further up the chain as far as getting ready to possibly evacuate. And we didn't feel as a group that we could hold the canoe races and essentially have our summer party with our neighbors while some of the neighbors were stressed about trying to get their properties ready and loading up cars just in case they're going to have to evacuate, like the poor folks over on the Ely side.
How far is the end of the trail from you? These individuals who have been told to be ready to move at a moment's notice. How far is that from where you are?
We're about maybe 14, 15 miles from the end of the trail.
Okay.
So yeah, that's and from looking this morning, the little knife fire looked like it's about 5 miles from Seagull Lake right now, and probably about 15 miles from where we are.
And when you say that you guys are in a ready status, what does that look like? What does that mean?
It just means making sure most of the properties up here now have wildlife or wildland sprinklers. So it's getting those started, getting those ready, running them, making sure that that everything is set on those, making sure that brush and things that can catch fire are cleared away from your buildings. Preparing the evacuation plan. We have a staff of about 40 to 50 up here right now, and making plans to make sure if somebody doesn't have a car, who they would ride with and how that would work. So we're just kind of firming up all those plans that we've had laid out for years, just in case something happens. Reviewing those and making sure we're all fresh on all that, and everybody has their assignments in case we do go to the set level, and especially if we end up at the go level.
The Gunflint Lodge has dealt with wildfires many times before. Has this become routine for you?
No, it's never routine. I mean, we've been through it before, and it gives you a little sense of it's maybe not quite as urgent or dire as some people make it out. You need to take a breath. Kind of think through what's going on. The Forest Service and the Sheriff's Department are very careful about making sure people are safe. So we all, it's going to be safe. If we have to leave, they're going to let us know, and they haven't let us know. So things are safe here right now. If they're not safe, the Forest Service, working with the Sheriff's Department, will tell people they need to evacuate, and that's when it's serious. But we're not there right now, and it's not routine. The last time we got into essentially the ready state was in 2021, so it's not that frequent. But you kind of know the drill, and that there's time to kind of figure things out, and usually it doesn't move so fast that you don't have time to adjust. And when it does move fast, the Forest Service and the Sheriff's Department and the Gunflint Trail Volunteer Fire Department comes out and lets you know that you need to get moving on it.
You guys are often a launching off point for people who are going off into the boundary waters. Maybe they're doing a portage trip. Are you helping those individuals reschedule trips?
Yeah, we're accommodating the folks we can. Some people are adjusting and doing a stay. Some people are taking an alternative trip. So we're fortunate in our area, on our lake and the adjacent lakes, that there are boundary waters type campsites in the forest that are not in the boundary waters, that are still open. You can't do the campfires, but you can camp in them. And some of those people are adjusting for that. And then there are people who are deciding to postpone their trips and going to do it later, and we're working with them to make alternate plans too.
Yeah, I mean, I have to imagine the optics are not good for business alone. You guys are not in an evacuation zone right now, but when people are watching the news and seeing northern Minnesota's on fire, they're looking at the images and seeing, smoky, hazy backdrops. It can't be good for business.
No, not at all. It's not good for business. It's not good for the fire department. The fire department's main fundraising event is the Gunflint Trail canoe races, which are held here, and having to cancel that isn't great. But hopefully, folks will go to the Gunflint Trail Fire Department webpage and decide to donate and help kind of cover the money that we would have raised for that. Hopefully, we're going to have the races later in the year, and hopefully, we'll have a big community party once the fires are no longer a threat and kind of get back to normal.
I hope for that too, and I hope it comes sooner rather than later. John Frederickson, the owner of the Gunflint Lodge, thank you so much for always chatting with us here on All Day.
You bet. Thank you.
All right. They're obviously, those business owners up there are dealing with a lot as these fires continue to encroach closer to their properties. We are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we are going to talk to even more people impacted by these fires. We've got someone from the North American Bear Center in Ely joining us. They personally had to evacuate, and we want to talk to them about what happens with the museum and those bears. That's going to be right after this break. Welcome back. As wildfires continue to rage in northern Minnesota, mandatory evacuations have been ordered in the Fernburg Corridor and the Echo Trail Corridor. Those are areas northeast of Ely. While also located in Ely is the North American Bear Center. Assistant Director Spencer Peter joins me now. Spencer, thanks for making the time. I know it's a really stressful time in your neighborhood.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I appreciate it. Things are not as usual at the moment.
Yeah, certainly not. But you guys remain open to visitors from my last check.
Correct. Yeah, we are still open. We're still functioning as normal. Right now, there's no imminent threat to the town of Ely itself, and so we're going to operate as usual and until the things change or go other ways.
So it's my understanding that you yourself had to personally evacuate your home. Can you just walk me through what you've been through?
Yeah, so it was a day ago. The night before, actually, we were put to set, which means you should be ready, set, go as the 3 levels. We were at set. And so me and my wife got things together. And in the morning, around 7 o'clock in the morning, I believe, we got moved to go. And that meant that it's time to get out. So luckily, we had prepared. We had all the stuff we needed, emergency-wise, all of our important things ready to go. And it took us about, 10 minutes once we got the final word. And we went into town, family and friends. This community, as Ely as a whole, has been super helpful, setting things up and making resources and spaces available for people. And so we're really fortunate to rely on our network and support system of the community and the friends and family to be able to find something temporary for now and see what comes next.
As far as you know, is your house still standing?
As far as I know, yes. The apps and the various county and state level maps that they put out are pretty helpful. You kind of pay attention to those. Our local radio station, one of them, WELY, they do updates every so often, at top and bottom of every hour, I believe, right now. And they're keeping folks updated on what's going on as much as they can. There's also some broadcasting apps that you can use to tune into some of the transmissions between the crews that are actually taking care of this stuff. So between all those resources you can kind of keep up to date. And right now, where I'm from or where my house is all good at the moment.
So help me understand where the GO evacuation happened in relation to like downtown Ely or where the Bear Center is located. Is how many miles?
Yeah, I was actually just trying to like map that on like a little app that I have that just shows, like Google Maps or something like that. And it's a few miles out yet. I think the last time I looked, maybe the closest to like the Bear Center or Ely is still 8 to 10 miles maybe. So it's still a ways northeast of Ely itself. And then there's another fire up the Echo Trail, which is also northwest-ish of Ely. And so the closest one, though, is the campfire that they've been reporting on. That one is the closest to Ely right now. And then my house is on the other side of kind of where that is, which is why they evacuated anywhere north of Ely, is because it's just one road coming in, the Fernburg corridor area. And so if the fire makes it to the road, everybody essentially on the other side where I'm at would be trapped. And so they take into that kind of stuff into account with the evacuation procedures. And so that's why many of the Echo Trail and the Fernburg corridor areas were set to go first, is so that they can get out of those areas where they'd be trapped otherwise, potentially.
Can you just talk to me about what it looks like in Ely right now? We see the images where downtown it looks, visibility is extremely low. It's really hazy. But I mean, are people operating as normal?
Yeah, actually, the place I'm at, I have view right on camera of Main Street. There's an outfit I can see, and they, I know a lot of the outfits had, people can't use the backwaters right now, so they're not overly busy running people out to the water, obviously. I see vehicle traffic. The intake stuff is open, operated to my knowledge. I went out at Collins this morning, and so there is still stuff going on. A lot of people that had to relocate are probably relocating within your areas with the town and stuff for now, seeing what's going on. There was other shops and that I saw on my way to get this morning, but the visibility, I mean, you can definitely see the smoke. It's there, sure. It's not like a couple days ago when you see like a plume background or anything, so it's definitely died, but the visibility itself, you can definitely see the smoke in the area.
Okay, your audio is breaking up a little bit, but I hope.
Sorry.
That's okay. I hope we can stay with you because I have so many more questions to ask you. I want to get to the Bear Center. So you have 3 resident bears there at the North American Bear Center. You have an indoor museum. You have an outdoor viewing area, indoor viewing areas. What is the plan if you are put in a position where you have to evacuate at the Bear Center?
Great question. So we have evacuation procedures in place where we evacuate get all the folks out of the area. That's first. We, unfortunately, you look at, we had a situation similar to this not too long ago. We didn't get to the actual full evac, but we got on through some of the predecessor steps to actually practice more and to be prepared for something like this. I was there on those days as well as the director, and we have some relative practice and what happens, but basically make sure all the people are safe, and then we are to evacuate bears if we have to evacuate. That generally includes the bears, and that involves getting them transportation crates or specially designed for that. We have actually a few extra on hand. We have bears, but with them in there, and then they're loaded and taken to several different locations that have to store them. We have agreements with facilities. They hold on to them. So let's say they need to be moved for like a day or two. That's the specific area. Maybe it's going to be longer than that, depending on the situation itself and how good or bad it was. They might have a place we can keep them for a week or two at a time, and so we can make arrangements for that. Maintain the 3 of them and their health for long term or short term, depending on what arises. And so we'll go ahead and take the necessary steps as we're alerted to by the county and its officials, as of not, hopefully not, at appropriately in the general area of the Bear Center.
It is getting increasingly hard to understand you. I think it is.
I'm so sorry.
I think it's the internet connection. But it sounds to me like these bears are not able to be released back in the wild. There's a situation where they can't get released back into the wild, so they need to go into crates and be moved to a temporary location. And you guys do have a temporary location for that.
Correct. Yep. They are releasable to the wild, so they'll come with us, and we'll have a for them.
Okay. Spencer Peter, I hope that we can check back in with you later in the week and maybe even next week. And hopefully our audio issues will improve so we can hear you a little better because you are such an important part of the Ely community. Spencer Peter with the North American Bear Center, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
All right. We are going to continue covering these wildfires as well as the extreme heat. We are in an extreme heat warning in much of Minnesota, and that is in place until Thursday at 9 p.m. We also are living under an air quality alert. So right now, the Arrowhead region, the North Shore of Minnesota, is experiencing some of the worst air quality in the country. We're also getting that down here as the air quality continues to degrade in the Twin Cities because the wind is bringing that smoke down here into our region. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. As wildfires continue to rage in northern Minnesota, evacuations are in place and the Boundary Waters canoe area has closed, which means forest rangers are out in canoes in pairs of 2, letting campers know that they need to get out immediately. Mark Zimmer, better known as the Barefoot Paddler, was one of those campers who was notified of the closure and had to leave on a moment's notice. Mark joins me now. Mark, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So you were camping like you always do. You spend the entire summer in the Boundary Waters. You've now visited every single campground in the Boundary Waters. When you got notified, can you just tell me how it all happened?
Yeah, so we started paddling from our campsite early in the morning. We were going to stay at another lake closer to the entry point and leave on Wednesday. We passed a group of paddlers who were headed in, and they had found out from a group of scouts who had gotten a call on a satellite phone that the evacuation order was put in place. So then they paddled past us, and when they were going past, they let us know, and then we ended up all just kind of getting together and all heading out. So,
Were you?
Yeah, sure.
What did it look like around you? I mean, could you see smoke? Could you smell the smoke? Did you know that the fires were nearby?
Yeah, we knew the fires were nearby. It was very, very smoky. You could tell it was coming from, from the west, and you don't know exactly which direction. I mean, you can see the way the smoke's going, but that can change pretty fast too. So, also where we were was at the end of the snow, was by Snowbank Lake, which is end of the Fernberg Road, which is a dead end road, and the fire is kind of going through the Fernberg Road, more west of that area. So it's kind of a trapped area right now. So you would just want to get out of there as soon as possible.
And when you left, I mean, were you able to pack up all your stuff, or did you leave in a hurry? Did you have to leave things behind?
No, we got all of our stuff out of there.
Okay.
We weren't in an emergency area where it was critical to exit, as soon as we could. But I was more worried about having to get through the road to get back towards Ely. But that was still good. But now it's closed.
So you had to paddle, and it sounds like portage a little bit, paddle another lake to get out. And you had family visiting you. So you had your mother visiting you, who is in her 60s, who had to paddle by herself. I mean, walk me through the exit.
Okay. Yeah. So we ended up, the paddlers that let us know, we met up with them, and then we packed our stuff up. And yeah, my mom, she was pretty tired by then. She was in a solo canoe by herself. She did a fantastic job. It was the wind that made everything tough, and it wasn't just the wind, but the heat. The heat was, I think it was like 100 degrees that day. And I've been up here for 14 years all summer. I can't remember a day that was that hot. And so you just had to maintain a good enough speed because you needed to get out of there, but at the same time you had to take care of your body first. But and then when we got to the portages, everybody kind of took breaks, and I tried to handle as much as I could, because I do it all the time. But I was pretty tired at the end of the day, so I'm sure everyone else was pretty exhausted.
I can imagine, and the wind was pretty fierce that day as well, which always makes paddling tough. Talk to me about the conditions the last month, because you're out there consistently, and we heard from the National Weather Service just a short while ago that they have been experiencing those hot temperatures like you talked about, but that they haven't received precipitation in the last month. So can you talk to me about the conditions that came before this?
Yeah, well, this spring was really good. It looked like we were going to have a good berry season, and everything. We just haven't had a sufficient amount of rain, a good soaking in a long time. So even the rain that we have, it hasn't saturated the ground or anything very much, and it's just a cause for everything to ignite. And then the storm that we did have didn't produce a lot of rain; it just produced lightning and started a lot of fires. So it's just a bad combination of everything.
Have you ever been evacuated like this before?
I think in 2021, I think it was, they closed the Boundary Waters. But again, I carry a pocket radio with me, so I try to keep up to date on the news that way. And then they're really good with letting us know about the evacuation notice and everything. So you always want to take that seriously. So once I hear about them, I head out.
Have you ever seen wildfires this bad, this up close?
Not this big, not this fast. No, the way that these exploding. I mean, it's been a while, I think, since they've exploded this way. Probably since 2014 or 13 when we had them, and then in 2011, we had the bad one too. So it's been a while, but yeah, not like this. It's a scary situation out there right now.
You're currently in Grand Marais, where business is operating as usual. Yes, it looks hazy, but can you talk to me about the current situation there in Grand Marais?
So everything seems to be operating, normally over here. We do have the other fire on the end of the Gunflint Trail, coming from Canada, which is over by Otter Track Lake, which is it's probably like 10 or so miles, maybe a little more than that, west of the end of the Gunflint Trail. So they're in a set warning as well. So we have that concern over here, and then even part of the mid trail now is in the ready stage as for the 3 stages or whatever. So it's a concern over here as well, which really makes it a concern over the entire forest. I mean, yeah.
I know that you're very keyed in with the Northwoods community within the Arrowhead region because you spend so much time up there. What are you hearing as far as rescue operations? Because it sounds like they are still going campsite to campsite. Like, do you believe there are still campers out there?
I 100% believe there's still people out there. Yeah, there's people who aren't going to have radios. There'll be people that have been out there for a week who won't know. I don't know. I don't assume that there's many people left in the high danger areas anymore at this point. I would assume that the people that are still out there would be more in the southeastern side, where the concern is less. Because just as people, we see smoke. I mean, we know not to go towards it.
And I do want to talk to you about your work a little bit, because you have been hiking and tracking every official canoe campsite portage and hiking trail and logging it and creating a database for other outdoor enthusiasts to use. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so over the last 4 years, I've hiked every portage hiking trail. I've been to all the campsites, paddled past them, located where they're officially at and everything, and then I've been taking a picture from the campsite and then from the lake, so you got a couple different perspectives. I'm trying to put how many campsites or like how many tent spots are there, if you can do hammocks, if there's poison ivy on the campsites. I try to involve that because even though I'm not necessarily too allergic to it, some people are, right? So I'm trying to key all them aspects into it. So it's really, I'm just trying to create one huge complete database. I'm trying to include some historical references so that there's to tie in some history and everything. So I've got all the data complete. I'm just in the process now of trying to figure out a way to present it to the public in a good way.
I know you've witnessed fires, rip through the area before. How much do you think this will change the landscape for people who are visiting the Boundary Waters, maybe next summer?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take 20 years before, most of these areas recover to the point that they're, back to, the point where the trees are, getting bigger again. And, they get really, really thick. Where the burn areas are, I usually, over the course of the summer, I go to the areas that have been, burnt in the prior years because the plants are different in them areas and the berries are usually more abundant. And I do a lot of foraging, so the burn areas are a place that I go to, but it's also a place that is great to study and just to see how the forest grows.
I know that you'll be back in the Boundary Waters as soon as they let you back in. Is there any message that you have to people who are looking to camp maybe later this summer or, in the future for the first time in the Boundary Waters?
Just be aware there's a lot of hammock campers out there, be aware if you want to do that there is a lot of places that have burned in the past. So you make sure that, it's a possibility to camp there, with the hammock. A lot of the burnt sites are not as nice. So just, studying a fire map is kind of a good measure. Don't let the fires deter your trip. This is still a beautiful place all over the place, and new growth is still beautiful growth.
Yeah.
So still come and enjoy it, but in the meantime, we have to let the firefighters do what they're experts at and make sure that we're safe and they don't have to worry about us and they can do their jobs.
Well, we're so happy you're safe, Mark, and we appreciate you sharing your story with us.
I appreciate you guys letting me.
That was Mark Zimmer, the Barefoot Paddler. You can find his website at thebarefootpaddler.com. I do want to bring in our meteorologist, Erica Mrazek, because it is extremely dry up there right now. And officials talked about that a little bit ago. What was the weather leading into these fires that really did not help the situation?
Yeah, lots of dry weather, lots of warm weather. Parts of north central Minnesota are in a drought right now. They have dry fuels, so just doesn't take much to cause some havoc up there. So hot, dry summer weather,
and
windy weather too.
We heard officials say that they're in kind of a temporary pause right now. The temperatures have dropped, which is helping their firefighting efforts, and they even said they might be getting a tiny bit of precipitation.
Yes, the past hour there were reports of rain up north, just very light rain, which obviously you need a lot more rain to really do much, but any rain helps just a little bit. So reports of light rain throughout the past 24 hours. There were a few spots that got a little more rain, but that was just too far south and west. Reports of about 3/4 of an inch closer to the Bemidji area. But when you go further north and east, that was only trace amounts, but still a little bit of some more showers possible up there throughout today, tomorrow. So.
But when you talk about 100 degrees in Ely, that is very unusual weather for this time of year.
Yes. So I was looking, the data I got is from International Falls. That was the closest I could get to Ely. So temperatures there are typically not where they have been lately. They're usually in the mid to upper 70s, so about 78 for the International Falls area, and similar throughout other parts of northeast Minnesota. In the past couple of days, highs have been 80s, 90s, 98 from the 12th. So definitely warmer than normal. There was only about, it looks like, one day this month where the temperature was below normal. So
wow.
It has been quite warm up there.
I mean, you're talking a 30-degree temperature difference in that region, which is obviously not helping. We know that they believe most of these fires were started by lightning, and it was a storm that brought not much, or if any, rain, but a lot of lightning.
Right, yeah.
And then you've got the heat, the dry conditions. It's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and the showers from the past 24 hours did have a little bit of lightning, which we don't want, but they also had the rain, so it was kind of a pro and con for it up there, so.
We also have to talk about the heat, because we are in an extreme heat warning. We've been talking about it all week, and that is in effect till Thursday night.
Yeah, for the metro, it continues for the rest of the midweek, even into the end of the work week. But for places up north, now the smoke is dropping temperatures just a smidge, but it's enough to take them out of the extreme heat warning for tomorrow and Friday, and some areas up north, just a heat advisory, as well as areas south and east. So the heat's starting to drop with the haziness in the sky.
Okay, but you can always stay up to date on that extreme heat with our weather app. It's free to download, and also on fox9.com/weather. Erica Morazic, thanks so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to toss it to a quick break. We'll be back after this. All right, thanks for joining us here on All Day Live. I'm Courtney Godfrey. We continue to keep you updated on the wildfires that are burning in northern Minnesota. Authorities have issued new evacuation orders today for the Echo Trail area north and west of Ely. This is on top of the evacuation orders that were already in place in the Fernburg corridor. This is all in northwest Ely. Our very own So Young is in Ely right now. So Young, obviously it looks like business as usual in Ely, but we can see that heavy haze and smoke behind you.
Hey, Courtney. Yeah, we're in town in Ely, and the smoke has just gotten heavier throughout the day. You can smell it. You can definitely see it. You can also see some ash flying around in the air. Certain areas, the ash is actually accumulating, and I can't take credit for this one, but we spoke with some outfitters. Someone gave a great reference where they're like, it's snowing in Minnesota in July, and that's really what kind of the white ash and the flakes flying around really look like. In terms of conditions here, it does feel a bit cooler than it did yesterday. We were in a similar part of town in Ely yesterday, and it was really hot. The officials just gave us a press conference update on the firefight and their efforts. This cool weather isn't really helping significantly in the firefight. The warm, dry conditions in the more remote parts of the wilderness where a lot of this active fire is continuing to rage on is so significant. It's not going to really help significantly. The incident meteorologist also said there is a little bit of rain in the forecast, but again, the most impact that will have is a potential pause maybe in the growth of the fires. But all of the officials, the multi-agencies, all expect this to be a long-term situation. As you know, the boundary waters have closed. It's a rare closure of the entire wilderness area. That's a precautionary measure. We know, thankfully, there haven't been any injuries or imminent threats to property so far, but like you mentioned, evacuation orders are expanding. There are go now orders in both Lake and parts of St. Louis County as well. Again, officials urge the top priority is public safety and also the safety of the firefighters as they try to reach and get access to a lot of these remote areas. Talking to people in town, they're on high alert. A lot of the outfitters also, they're reaching out to people's emergency contacts. One of the outfitters we just spoke with, thankfully, as of yesterday, everyone that they had sent out into the wilderness, they're accounted for. The Forest Service, when I asked them kind of for a figure of how many people might still be out there, they say it's hard to put an exact number to it. They know it's in the thousands because they know when people enter, they don't have exact record of when people exit the wilderness area. They say some people could have been out there for months. Right now, a really rough estimate, they feel like they've reached maybe 90% in one form of communication or directly. They've reached 90% of the people who may be out in the Boundary Waters area. So it's a very fluid, it's a very dynamic situation. We actually just felt some raindrops here few minutes ago, but as you can see, the winds have shifted and a lot of the smoke is settling in town and just getting heavier as we speak. As we stand out here, it's getting harder to breathe. Courtney?
Yeah, and I imagine feeling those raindrops gives everyone in town a little bit of relief. Talk to me about the rescue efforts because, like you said, they still believe that there are some people out in the Boundary Waters. I know that they did have to rescue some campers through aerial efforts. What kind of efforts are happening right now to get the word out? And then what does their manpower look like all around?
Sure. Starting with the manpower on the ground, inclusive of all the agencies, they think the crew personnel, some of the behind the scenes crew that's helping coordinate logistics, upwards of 400 personnel on this firefight across the more than the dozen fires that are going on in this region in northern Minnesota. An update to those numbers. currently active fires. Now they say it's 15. Some of the fires have merged. There have been new starts also overnight. 4 of those 15 are actively burning within the boundary waters. In terms of communications and evacuation efforts in the boundary waters, this is 1 million acres that these teams have to cover. A lot of it has been manual by canoe, reaching campsites where by aerial view or by word of mouth that they might have heard or spotted campers there. So it really is a manual effort. There's been teams out doing communications that way. They've also obviously are still sending out alerts for people that still have service on their phones. Outfitters were also helping the last couple days, where the Forest Service would bring a group of people. I think the Camp Fire, which is a fire closest to us in Ely that led to some of the closures in this area. The fire service would bring some of the visitors and the campers to a rallying point. Some of the outfitters and the private companies would really help kind of bring out their own towboats to bring some of those visitors camping back into town. So it's however they can reach them, they're trying their best right now. They do believe more people are out there. Again, hard to put an exact figure to that. And they did confirm what you mentioned. More than a dozen people were lifted out and evacuated that way, I believe, on Monday earlier this week.
Just incredible efforts. Have you been able to make contact with anyone while you're there in town that have had to evacuate their homes in the Fernburg corridor or the Echo Trail corridor areas?
Not those 2 areas specifically. I have spoken to people that knew people that evacuated. I also spoke with a family a son who had elderly parents. They are not in an evacuation zone, one of the 2 that you just mentioned, but they kind of live nearby enough where because his parents are elderly, mobility is an issue. So as a precaution to get ahead of any possible expanded evacuation orders, they also headed out of town to Hoyt Lakes, I believe. So a lot of moving parts, a lot of people are on high alert. And the sheriff urges, he says, we're going door knocking. That's what the Lake County Sheriff's Office just told us. And there was a follow-up question to what's your message to the public under evacuation orders in those areas? He says, we can't force people to leave, but we also can't guarantee we'll be able to double back and door knock again if the situation becomes even more intense or even more dangerous to the public. So the word of caution right now is for everyone to stay alert. If you know anyone in the area, also try to communicate and make sure everyone's in the know with this rapidly changing situation.
Yeah, stay at your own risk. At the beginning of that press conference, they also talked about personal drone use. Apparently, there have been some individuals getting in the way of their aerial rescue and I'm sure, water dumping efforts. Can you just talk to us about that?
Yeah, they were mentioning a specific incident where it sounds like a drone may have been in the area. They mentioned there is some sort of kind of standing flight restriction over the entire BWCA, but right now, even more so, there's additional restrictions, as you can imagine. So they say firefighting aircraft and drones don't mix. Please do not fly your drones in the area. It's a hazard. Visibility is low already. So the fire crews have enough challenges that they're up against in the remote area. You can see how thick the smoke is even miles away. You can only imagine what visibility looks like on top of the fire. So they're asking people to please be mindful and please stay clear of the airspace where the firefight is happening. And that was kind of the message and the story they were telling with the drones.
All right. So Young, incredible reporting. So appreciate you. Please stay safe.
Thank you, Courtney.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. Well, just a couple of hours ago, officials with the U.S. Forest Service, the National Weather Service, and the St. Louis County and Lake County Sheriff's Office gave an update on the more than dozen fires that are burning up in northern Minnesota right now and in the Boundary Waters. Let's take a listen to St. Louis County Sheriff Gordon Ramsey.
I want to just start out by saying everybody in this building that's working here is of the utmost concern is people's safety. And we are monitoring these fires very closely, as you've learned and can see, things have really grown. If you look out here, brown grass in Ely in the summer is pretty rare. The last thing we need is more fires. So if people would please be conscientious of what they're doing outside and do not create any more issues for our firefighters. Second, the evacuations. So these fires continue to grow at significant rates. With the current winds, we're concerned that they will continue to expand potentially into populated areas. We are meeting and looking at logistics and looking at the data to determine what the next few days will mean for people that live in northern St. Louis County. Monitor our page that has the maps for Ready, Set, Go, and we will do our best to keep everybody informed so that they are aware of what's happening.
All right, that was St. Louis County Sheriff Gordon Ramsey just giving an update on the response to the fires that are burning up north. Currently, right now, mandatory evacuations are in place in communities northeast of Ely. So the Fernburg corridor was evacuated yesterday. Today, they added the Echo Trail corridor to that. That is people living along the trail between Big Lake and North Arm Road. They are being told to evacuate immediately. On top of that, the Boundary Waters is closed, and officials have said they still believe there are campers inside the Boundary Waters that need to get out. So they've been going campsite to campsite to try and let those people know that they need to move out. All right, well, in the middle of all these fires, there are so many people in the community that are stepping in to help, some big, some small. Timothy Loney joins me now. He's the owner of Elephant Yoke Recording Studio. Timothy, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So you are actually offering to take people's instruments in if they are in an evacuation zone. Can you just tell us what you're doing?
Yeah, I saw the outreach through a variety of Facebook posts and people needing spaces for different things. And so I'm just reaching out, putting it out there through a couple different networks to see if you have an instrument and you don't have, a steady place to go, you can store it in our studio for the time being. So that's just what we're doing for now.
Why would it be so important for somebody to have somewhere safe to store their instruments if being evacuated?
It depends on the instrument. Certain instruments are really sensitive. We live in a climate that has all types of weather, and unfortunately, the weather we have right now. But some need a really climate-safe place. So it's temperature controlled, it's humidity controlled, things that they might have at their home as well. And so while they're focusing on maybe more important things or other things, they can know that their instrument's safe.
What's your capacity for taking these instruments in? I mean, what instruments can you take and how many?
Yeah, smaller instruments are a lot easier. And so, I made a post about no pianos or drum sets. It's a small studio, so it's 13 by 20. Right now, we've taken an additional, I think, 11 instruments. We probably have room for another 15 to 20 kind of guitar-size instruments that we could hold on to for the time being.
So you already have people taking you up on this?
We do, yeah.
And what are the stories that you're hearing from those individuals?
So far, it's a lot of individuals that are just being extra cautious. I think more than half of the instruments we have are from people that are not in, the go stage of the Ready, Set, Go evacuation. And so they're kind of focusing on other things, but decided to drop off instruments as they're packing up and getting ready to see what they can take with them. And kind of to that point, a lot of instruments might not fit in their car. They might not have a trailer or a large car to take with them as they leave their property.
Yeah, it's good to know that people are getting prepared. When you think about like pianos and stuff, are you working? Are there places that you know of that can maybe store those larger instruments?
There's, I don't know. No, I haven't seen anything offered yet. We're trying to stay active in all of the networks for that. I know there are some places that might be able to help in town, but that's one of the other issues too, is that we're located west and south of town, so we are a little bit farther away. Right now, the city of Ely is right on the edge of a lot of those ready, set, go zones. So I know that some people might be a little reluctant to kind of store in the city at this time. Right now it's safe, but I think one of the reasons that they were focusing on us is we're a little bit outside of town. But I know there's places that maybe might start offering to help. I've seen a lot of people offering, outside of musical instruments. There's some farms south of town that are taking on horses and livestock. People are opening their homes to other families and pets. So the community is really stepping up in a lot of other ways. I'm not sure exactly about the larger instruments at this time.
On that note, when I look on social media on these Ely community pages, it's just filled with people offering up their homes, offering up their trailers, all kinds of stuff. What is it about this community that is so willing to help a neighbor out?
I've had the privilege of living up here 9 years. So I'm fairly new to the community in that way, but from the moment I've been here, it's been a very welcoming community, very open community, people that are, willing to kind of step up in any way. I know a lot of people were helping out with the evacuations off of Fernburg and Echo areas. It's a tight-knit community. I think one thing that also helps Ely, that it's unique, is that we're located next to the Boundary Waters. So you think of all the families that have done trips to Ely to visit the Boundary Waters, spend time there, and take that in. That's why those social media pages are filled with tens of thousands of people, is that a lot of people still have that strong connection to Ely, largely due to visiting the Boundary Waters. And so I've noticed even on those community pages, people that live in St. Paul, Duluth, even outside of Ely are offering spaces that you might not see that in other small towns, but because they stay connected to Ely and what it offers, I think that expands the scope of how many people are willing to help outside of even just the town, and how amazing this community is and willing to step up in those times.
What's it look like outside right now? I mean, what's it like living in Ely when there's this firefighting response happening, evacuations happening all around you? What's it like?
It's a little daunting, I'm married and I have a 10-month-old daughter, and so when the air quality index is, I think I saw close to 600, right, which is beyond dangerous, you're staying inside all day the best you can. We hear the helicopters and the planes going over all day long, trying to, some of those scooper planes getting water, putting out fires, so that's constantly happening. This morning, most everything was covered in ash. So I saw a lot of people trying to clean that off so that you prevent, possible future fires too on your car and things like that, wiping that off. It was, kind of in a green haze this morning, looking outside. And so it's really tough. Right now, it's kind of like chewing smoke. It's like, you're inside a campfire. And so it's a little daunting right now, but still, as you mentioned, just more and more people reaching out to help, and that's the amazing thing about being here. But yeah, right now it's a little tricky. We know the wind might be shifting again instead of from the north, and so that would help in terms of the air quality piece of things.
Yeah, absolutely wild. We're glad you're okay, Timothy, and thank you for stepping up to help your neighbors.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, that was Timothy Loney. He is the owner of Elephant Yoke Recording Studio. They're offering to take in people's instruments as they have to evacuate their homes right now. Kara, can you just pull up that picture of the before and after? I do want to just go over some things, some updates here. So Governor Tim Walz has extended the peacetime emergency in and around the Boundary Waters canoe area. He's extended that for for 30 more days. as the fires currently cover 55,000 acres. The air quality continues to worsen as well. We just got an alert from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency that the air quality is bad basically all over Minnesota. So the entire state is in a bad air quality state. This photo here just shows how much conditions have changed just in the last 24 hours. So Chrissy McJopp gave us permission to show this photo that she shared on social media. This is a photo she took yesterday at 1 p.m. on West Shagawa Lake. That is yesterday at 1 p.m. And then the other side is this morning at 6 a.m. So the conditions changing very rapidly up there as smoke continues to blanket the area and wind pulls that smoke deeper into these communities. So just a pretty jarring look at how much things can change in 24 hours. We did also hear from Governor Tim Walz earlier today, and we want to take a listen to that. Let's go ahead and play that now.
What this is this was set up several years ago with the idea we would get these natural disasters, and they could have been things like snowstorms that collapsed a lot of milking parlors in southeast Minnesota. That was one we tended to. The blowdown in Bemidji, flooding, different things. They don't reach the threshold for a disaster emergency at the federal level, but the costs are significant to the local community. So we have made the decision in Minnesota, and the legislature has done so, to fill an account with money that allows these counties or local entities to apply to the state for 75% reimbursement from these events. And this morning I approved several of them in counties that have experienced this throughout the early spring and summer. And we being the state, reimburse 75% of the costs. And a lot of it's cleanup. There are a lot of trees to pick up in Bemidji and things like that. It's smart. It helps show that we're in this together. And I think we all know each part of the state looks out for the other in a way. So that account has money in it. It was put back in again as the start of the new fiscal year on July 1st. So we've got money in that account. We'll use it for that. And it's for things that don't reach the federal threshold and we don't get federal reimbursement. The states still help our local entities. It is just really smart.
All right, that was Governor Tim Walz talking about that emergency declaration and the planning behind it and the idea behind it. So again, we continue to cover these wildfires and we will continue to do so throughout the day and throughout the week. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a check at all the other headlines as there is other news happening around the country today. Stay with us. welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on Fox 9 all day. Well, we are in an extreme heat warning through Thursday at 9 p.m. here in most parts of Minnesota. We're also in an air quality alert due to the wildfire smoke that's coming into town. So basically all of Minnesota now is in a hazardous air quality level, which means if you have respiratory issues, any health issues, really cardiac issues, you're going to want to spend as much time inside as you can. In other news, some big news in the Minnesota gubernatorial race came out today. President Donald Trump has officially endorsed MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell in the Republican primary, calling him one of America's greatest and most hardworking patriots in a Truth Social post this morning. Lindell, a longtime Trump ally, is competing in a crowded GOP field as Republicans hope to flip the open governor's seat this November. And in Washington, D.C. today, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche defended his leadership of the Justice Department during a contentious Senate confirmation hearing, answering questions about the department's independence, the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files, and federal immigration enforcement. Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar pressed Blanche over the Justice Department's refusal to cooperate with Minnesota investigations into fatal ICE shootings, while Senator Tina Smith also challenged his handling of federal law enforcement and accountability. In other news, a bipartisan effort to make daylight saving time permanent is one step closer to becoming law. So the House of Representatives overwhelmingly approved the measure on Tuesday. Lawmakers voted 308 to 117 to pass the Sunshine Protection Act, which would allow states to voluntarily observe daylight saving time year-round. My producer, Kara Savage, you looked this up, and if this goes through, and it's got bipartisan support, if this goes through, there will be some late sunrises in Minnesota.
Late mornings. Yeah, so the latest the sun would rise in Minnesota is 8:51 a.m.
Yeah.
Think about that.
My kids will be doing their first recess at school in the dark.
Right. And in parts of the East Coast, the sun will rise past 9 a.m. And that's just crazy.
What about sunset, though? Because the sunset in Minnesota, because we're so far north in the summer, as a parent, is wildly late. You know, I hear it all summer from my kids. But, Mom, the sun's still out. I'm like, it's 9 o'clock. You know, so I wonder if it's going to change, when the sun sets here, if this law goes through. And by the way, Kara, I don't know if you know this, but I lived in Arizona for a while.
Yeah.
Most of Arizona doesn't do daylight savings. They don't jump ahead. They don't fall back. They don't do any of that.
If daylight savings becomes permanent year-round, winter sunsets in Minnesota would shift to about 4:30 p.m. From 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m.
Well, I like that.
So that's good. I feel like at work, I mean, if I leave work at 5 o'clock and it's dark out, that's always disappointing.
You can say it. It's depressing.
It is. It's depressing.
But that was a way more politically chosen word, disappointing. But what about the summer? Would it impact summer sun? Did it say summer sunset?
The summer would be the same. So the thing is that it would stay the same for how it is right now.
Right.
Like that's how it would be.
Well,
so then
I
we
can
wouldn't
get behind
have
5:30, like the 4:30 sunset in the winter is really depressing. I don't like it, but I read a quote from one Florida representative who brought up her 10-month-old daughter and said, you know, it disrupts routines, it throws off sleep, and it creates unnecessary frustration for families. So I think that a lot of people say we don't need it anymore. It was put in place a long time ago for the farmers. And some states don't do it. Hawaii and Arizona are two states that don't do it. So, and I think there's like 20 states who are voting to get rid of it. So,
and
that seems weird to me too. Like if some states do it and some states don't, like shouldn't we all be doing the same thing?
Yeah. It really messes up. Like it's like, oh, we're 1 hour, like 1 hour difference between here and Arizona. Like on sometimes the year and sometimes don't. Like
I
that
went to
is
college
confusing.
in Arizona, and it was always like for 6 months we were on the same time zone as my parents in California, and for 6 months we were not. So
it's complicated, and it would be hard. And Arizona is one that we know. So like half the states are that way, and half the states aren't. It'd be hard to keep track.
At least these days, your phone just automatically knows where you are and updates you.
And you can Google it in about 4 seconds.
Correct.
So,
in other news, based on nationwide data from Lyft, a rideshare operator, the most popular destinations for soccer fans heading to World Cup watch parties included Brits Pub. So Brits Pub was number two on the list for the most popular bars for watch parties. Not surprising considering the watch party, they rented out, the Minnesota United really rented it out, but they did it in conjunction with Brits Pub. They rented out PV Plaza down there and it was full on those game nights. So yeah, Brits Pub, number two for the most visited World Cup bars in the country. I wonder, number 38 in Denver must have been popping, let me tell you. And then Milwaukee also made the list. Nomad World Pub in Milwaukee was the 5th most visited World Cup.
And that's a great bar in Milwaukee if you've ever been.
Okay.
That's like my favorite. That's my favorite Brady. I think it's on Brady Street. Brady Street bar in Milwaukee.
Okay, and I imagine with the name World Pub, they already are a big soccer bar.
Yeah, they've got a great patio, so I feel like you're kind of set up to win there.
But what's happening at number 38 in Denver? Because
I know.
I would like to go. If they were beating the watch parties at Brits, which were filling an entire downtown Minneapolis plaza, I mean, wow, they've got quite the party happening in Denver.
Well, also, this is based off of Lyft's data. So this is based off of how many rides are going to this bar. So maybe number 38 has a really bad parking situation and you have to take a Lyft there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Or if one of them is in a, very walkable neighborhood, you didn't have to take a Lyft, so it wouldn't have made the list. So you make a good point, Kara, that this data could be skewed, but we're still going to take it as a win for Brits Pub.
Yeah, we're going to take it as a win, yeah.
All right, great. Kara, are you prepared to talk about these Aldi ice cubes?
I am prepared to talk about the Aldi ice cubes.
Okay, so Aldi is selling a 4-pack of ice cubes for, get this, $4.99.
Yep, I did round up in the graphic and say $5, but
That's okay. That's okay. So it's targeted at craft cocktail and whiskey enthusiasts because they are 1.8-inch cubes that are made with reverse osmosis purified water and are designed to melt slowly so that they don't dilute your drinks. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, it's I do have a
sounds like witchcraft to me. I think all ice melts the same. I'm no scientist.
Agreed. And I get it. There's this whole thing around like the fun ice cubes and all that. But here, I saw this at Aldi yesterday and I took a picture of it because I was shocked.
You saw it in the wild?
Yes, I saw it in the wild.
Wow. Okay, Kara. Can't wait. There it is. Kara saw the ice cubes in the wild. Wow. They even come in a box, like very fancy.
I know. Well, it's just kind of like, why do we care? And I don't know. I don't care as much about the shape of my ice, maybe. Enough to pay $1.25 per cube.
I will say, I used to live in Kentucky, which is, the Bourbon Trail, whiskey. I learned a lot about whiskey and bourbon when I was there. And they do claim that a single ice cube is better for the taste, whatever.
Right.
So I get it. And, when you've had an old fashioned or just straight whiskey with one of those like ball globe ice cubes or these square ice cubes, it does taste better. I hate to say it, but
I mean, it's fun, but I feel like also you can buy a mold.
Absolutely.
Kara. For probably less than $10.
You can go to Home Goods down the street and I make hundreds of ice cubes.
Yes. And I love Aldi. I love Aldi. So I'm a big fan of Aldi, so I was disappointed when I heard about this.
This is a little wild to me too, Kara, because Aldi is supposed to be super affordable. So this is unusual for them.
Yes. And this was something that, I have a lot of my friends are also Aldi fans. So this went crazy in the group chat just talking about these ice cubes.
Wow.
Well, also, I'm going to show this box. I don't know if maybe you can reuse the mold that the cubes are in. Maybe then it's worth it.
Oh.
But again, I don't know. I didn't buy it.
Do they come in a mold?
Well, you would think so. How else are they keeping them in like a cube?
In the box, yeah.
Yeah, but they probably have like a divider.
I will say the box threw me off because I was picturing when you go and buy a bag of ice that they would just be in a plastic bag.
Yes.
But no, they're in a box. That must be to protect the reverse osmosis purified water that is designed to melt slowly.
Whatever that means. Whatever that means.
Whatever
I
that
really
means.
don't know, but yeah.
All right, Kara. Thanks for entertaining all those topics with me. I appreciate you. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with another look at your weather forecast. And we're also going to just take a look again at the air quality alerts that we're dealing with, the extreme heat, and the evacuations that are taking place up north as wildfires continue to rage near Ely. Stay right there. welcome back. Sorry for that delay. We're having some technical issues here. We lost power in the entire building here at Fox 9. So we're back on track now and up and broadcasting again. So thanks for your patience for those of you who are watching on our live stream. As wildfires continue to burn up north, they've expanded the evacuation order. Now the Echo Trail area northwest of Ely is being asked to evacuate. That adds to the Fernburg corridor, which was evacuated yesterday. This all is happening just around the Ely area. So Heidi Omerza, the mayor of Ely, joins me now. Heidi, I know you're busy. Thanks so much for taking the time to come on the show. If Heidi's there. Heidi's not there. Okay. They're telling me that they are working to get Heidi on the line. So let's just run through what we know right now. There is an air quality alert for pretty much the entire state of Minnesota right now. So the air quality is bad across the state, which means anyone who has respiratory issues or heart health issues, they are being urged to stay inside in air conditioning. We're also in an extreme heat warning right now, so which will stay in effect until 9 p.m. on Thursday night. So we continue to watch that. Meanwhile, like I mentioned, evacuation orders were expanded further into northeast Ely, north and west of Ely, as well as the Boundary Waters, which continues to remain closed. They have done a all-over closure of the Boundary Waters. They haven't done this since 2021. So they said, U.S. Forest Service officials said earlier today that they are still looking to get people out. They believe there are campers that are still in the Boundary Waters right now. They say they've gotten about 90% of the people out, if not more, but they do believe there are still people out there. They have had to do more than a dozen aerial lifts out in remote areas of the wilderness there, but otherwise people have been able to get out on their own as they have individuals going campsite to campsite, notifying them of the closures. Meanwhile, there are plenty of people in ready and set areas. That means that they've been notified that they may have to move at a moment's notice. So in addition to the Ely area, the end of the Gunflint Trail is also in that set stage. They're being told that they could be forced to leave at a moment's notice. And then even closer to Grand Marais, down the trail, those individuals have been put in a ready status. So they are all safe right now, experiencing a lot of haze and smoke, but they are being told that they need to be ready at a moment's notice. All right, I'm being told that we need to toss to break. We are having a bunch of technical issues as we lost power here. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. All right, welcome back. Thanks for bearing with us as we deal with a power outage here at our studios in Minnesota. We are continuing to follow the wildfires that are raging up in northern Minnesota. Ely is the community that is most impacted by these fires and by evacuations. So we're so glad to have the mayor of Ely, Heidi Omerza, on the line. Heidi, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
I apologize for the technical difficulties. Thanks for hanging in with us, because I know you are busy. Talk to me about the current situation there in Ely.
Well, the current situation right now is that the city of Ely actually is not in any sort of, ready, set, go pattern like the areas around us. And as was mentioned earlier, the boundary waters is obviously closed, and they are evacuating people. We are encouraging people to go to, the proper website and Facebook pages to make sure that they know what zone they're in, especially if they're outside of, Ely. And if they have any questions, to make sure that they call the proper authorities or to, check on websites. And then also to be patient, right? If you're in Ely, if you're in the area, just really be patient. We as a city and the surrounding entities are getting out information as quickly as possible. And also they're being very purposeful about the information that they're getting out. They want to be make sure that they're being diligent and careful with the information, because everybody wants to get out the correct information. Making sure that we're being safe, because public information we want to make sure that we're being safe for public officials, obviously, as a public standpoint. And then we want to make sure all the firefighters that are out there, it's safe for them as well.
Yeah.
And then making sure we're getting people, if they need to be evacuated, get them to a safe spot as well.
And there are plenty
those are our goals right now.
Right. And there are plenty of evacuation sites set up. Like you mentioned, relatively few year-round residents have been impacted by evacuations, but most in Ely are still feeling the impacts of this. Can you just talk to me about that?
Yes. So right now in Ely, it's hazy, which is actually quite good for the fire, I guess. It kind of suppresses the fire growth. So it's hazy. If you're in Ely, it's really hard to breathe. It's hazardous to breathe. It's kind of eerie, I'll be honest. And there's ash everywhere. If you're gone from your car for a few minutes and you go back out, there's a little bit of ash sprinkled everywhere. It's very interesting, and everybody's talking about it. So it's quite interesting. I was here. It was very different from the Pagami fire, which was quite a few years ago, and any other fire that we've ever experienced, because it's usually a little bit more windy, a little bit more rainy, but it's a little oppressive today, I'll be honest, because of the heat.
And the conditions have, we heard officials earlier saying how conditions have really changed today, that have helped a little bit in firefighting efforts. You had some extreme heat the last couple of days. We're seeing a 30-degree difference now. Talk to me about the weather that you usually see there and the weather that you've been seeing.
So usually it's not this hot ever up here. You usually don't even need an air conditioner actually in Ely. And the last few days, air conditioners have been turned on, purchased, that sort of a thing. And the weather has been hotter here. Actually, I was I'm visiting relatives down in New Mexico, and it was hotter here than it was in New Mexico. So if that tells you anything. So it was just, we were comparing temperatures.
Yeah.
So from southern United States to northern Minnesota, it was more heat. So it's been really interesting comparing all of that and seeing the difference. And hopefully cooler weather is on the way. Hopefully the smoke can disperse a little bit or change, so we can get a little bit more air support here to help us help with the fire.
The Red Cross has opened a temporary evacuation center near Ely in Babbitt. Are you seeing people use that center?
So I have not. I've been really more concentrating my efforts just on help efforts in Ely and getting and gathering information and seeing what we can do for the people that are actually here and what help they need here. But I've been in contact with some of those people, so it sounds like things are pretty calm right now. So I'm hoping things are just going to continue to be calm. But I know that there have been some efforts in Ely with a couple of groups helping out with the United Way support, making sure that people who are in need and who are elderly, if they need some help because they just simply can't get out, that are working with that. And so those are what I've been that's what our concern has been, making sure that people who with conditions like that can't breathe get information, and are elderly, that they don't necessarily have that help over the next few weeks, get that help they need.
We've talked to so many. Yeah, we've talked to so many community members over the last couple of days in your community who are stepping up to help. I mean, offering
Yes.
trailers, offering storage,
Yes.
offering places to stay. Can you just talk to me about neighbors stepping up and why this community is so willing to help each other out?
Well, I think it's just the nature of the community. It doesn't matter who you are or where you came from or what your beliefs are as far as anything like that. I mean, that's just the way we are. We are at the beginning of the road, if you will, or the end of the road, depending how you look at it. You need to rely on your neighbor because that's who we have to rely on. It's who we are. We know everyone, and if you need something, that's who you go to. It comes from the fact that the grocery store isn't always open, the hardware store isn't always open, so you're reliant upon your neighbors in a unique and different way. And I think it's the type of person that ends up moving here or living here or who grew up here. So that's just what we do. It's the way we are, and I think that's one of the things that makes Ely just that community that if you weren't born and raised here, it's the community that you want to move to, and that's just the great place about Ely. And it's one of the reasons why I'm really proud to represent it.
With so many federal and state agencies in town right now, what is your role as a local community leader?
Very little, trying to get out of the way, actually. I just listen, and if they need to fill a gap or they need to figure out, what they need or who they know, or if I can help out anyway, that's basically what I do. But we just basically step back, and if there's anything we can do, that's about it. So just playing good host. That's pretty much what we need to do.
Is Ely essentially the command center right now for all these organizations?
We help them find things, but yes, there are places that they are. And so we make sure that they are well taken care of.
Wow. How can people help? We have people all over the state that are watching and wanting to know, how can I help? Is there financial, is there physical needs? What is it? And are you guys open to donations right now?
So the United Way is helping right now. There's a Facebook page via the United Way or What's Up Ely, and there's a site set up there. So I'd recommend just go to that site and What's Up Ely, I believe it's called, and that would probably be the best way right now.
It sounds like you've lived up there most of your life, if not your whole life.
I have not. I married into it, but a good part of it, yes.
Well, you've been mayor. This is your third term, I believe, or you're going for your third term?
This is my second term. I've been on the council for over 20 years, though. Yes.
Yeah, so you've been up there for a long time. Wildfires are kind of a part of what happens up north.
Yes.
Every summer you have wildfires. It's a part of nature's rebuilding and rebirth process. Can you remember a fire that came anywhere near you like this?
No, not like this. This is we had the Pagami fire, which I can't remember, 6 years ago, I want to say. This is the first one that I remember being like. This is the first one I remember being quite like this. This is the unique one. This is a special kind of fire. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it's more than one. It's 3 or 4 5 converging now. So
yeah. How many campers are you seeing come out of the boundary waters through Ely? Because, you know, there was those evacuations. They're still trying to get some campers out. A lot of them got out on Monday. Are you seeing a lot of them come through Ely? Because I know you have a lot of outfitters who are based there.
I couldn't, I'm not certain. That's a really good question. I would not be the one to answer that question. I know that they're trying to still get some out, but that's not something that I would have a good handle on. So we see a lot of canoes leaving, so it would be hard to tell.
Yeah. Certainly wild times up there as you deal with that haze, that smoke. I heard someone describe it as snow in July is what it looks like with the ash falling outside.
That would be a really good way to describe it. I never thought of it that way, but you are correct.
There you go. You can take that, use it in your next interview. I appreciate you.
Yeah. There you go. Yes,
Heidi
that's a good one.
Omerza, the mayor of Ely. So glad that you're staying safe, and thank you for all the work you're doing up there.
All right. Thank you for your time.
All right. That was the mayor of Ely, which is arguably the most impacted community up there in northern Minnesota as they deal with these wildfires that continue to rage. The Eco Trail was the latest evacuation notice, and that adds to the Fernburg corridor. So now the Eco Trail corridor and the Fernburg corridor that are just northwest of Ely have now been evacuated. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back after this. That's it. She just said, oopsie. She came out when you were still hooking into your IFB. That's all right. That's live TV for you.
You get a behind the scenes look.
By the way, speaking of live TV, did you know we lost power?
I heard, except apparently the studio in the Weather Center has a generator because I didn't lose power in there, so I had no idea.
Okay, well, they might want to think about putting a generator on this studio because that was exciting. We went completely black. Anyway, we're back
Sorry
in
to hear
live.
about that.
Yeah, it's okay. I thought maybe we were under attack for a moment there. Now you join us, Erica Mrazek, meteorologist. We are in an extreme heat warning right now. I was just asking you, some parts of the state are in an extreme heat warning until Wednesday at 9 p.m.,
Yes.
but then other parts are until Friday.
Yes, so originally yesterday, a lot of the state had that until tomorrow. But now with the smoke moving down from the north, that's actually keeping temperatures just a tad bit, it's dropping them just a little bit. So counties to the north are just in that extreme heat warning through today, and then for tomorrow it turns into a heat advisory. So that's dropped down a level. And then only the metro really stays in that extreme heat warning for tomorrow into Friday.
Okay,
So,
when do we turn down the heat?
noticeably, that's going to be at the moment, it's looking like next week. For the rest of this week, I have highs. I was just working on the 7-day forecast a few minutes ago. I have highs still in the 90s through the rest of this week here in the metro area. And then the next best shot at the 80s is going to be probably about Monday, Tuesday timeframe.
So here in the metro, I've been reading about this a little bit. It is hot, and we're having this long stretch of heat, but it's not record-setting.
Records this time of year, those are usually triple digits. So this is just special because it's a lot of time with these hot temperatures.
Multiple days.
Yeah, just kind of stuck in this hot pattern. But I was reading yesterday the top 10 longest stretches of heat for the metro area with data from the airport around here. It's 9 consecutive days of highs in the 90s.
Okay.
And we have not hit that yet. So we have not broken the top 10.
We're like 5 days at this
yeah,
point.
just about. Yes, yeah, yesterday was 4, so today 5.
Okay, yeah, good to know. And then we've been covering these wildfires quite a bit. It's interesting when you look at the weather data up there because right as these fires were getting fueled and it was 100 degrees up in a region that this time of year usually is in the 70s.
Yes, usually upper 70s. So definitely warm up there, also definitely dry. There's a level 2 drought for some of north central Minnesota and then also a level 1 drought. And then if you're not in those areas, some parts are dry and then other parts are normal. So overall it's trending drier than average.
Is there any rain in the forecast that can provide any relief for these firefighting efforts?
Relief might be a stretch. I don't really think the rain will do very much. There is just a small chance for just random isolated light showers in the forecast, like the ones we've seen the past 24 hours, but they're not really going to do much since the fires are so big and burning so much land and things, so you need a lot of rainfall. So it's better than nothing, but it's not going to make too much of a difference.
Unfortunately, too, these fires, they believe, were all started by lightning strikes.
And there was lightning within the past 24 hours, too. So you get the rain, but then you also get the lightning with it, so it's pros and cons.
Right, yeah, they really need a solid drenching. They were saying some of these fires, they expect to burn into the fall.
I heard, yeah, and some were even saying until it snows maybe even, so.
Not good, not good. Okay, Erica, we really appreciate the update. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
We're going to go to a quick break. We'll be back after this. welcome back. Thanks for joining us. So this is the portion of the show where we like to take a look at what's trending on social media in a segment we like to call, Wait, What's Happening? This is wild. The DoorDash driver in Houston, Texas, was able to deliver the food she was ordered to deliver moments after she was hit by a suspect fleeing from police. So home security footage from Lily Portillo captured the moment that the suspect's vehicle strikes the DoorDash driver. After she stepped out of her parked vehicle, she's seen briefly gathering herself and then delivering the food. Take a watch. Wow. Amazing. So the DoorDash driver told the woman who received the food that she was okay, but obviously a little bit shooken up.
And she's still delivering the food.
I just can't believe
she's still delivering the food.
I can't, and the food got knocked out of her hand, so whoever salad that was, it got a little pre-tossed.
Hopefully there's no drink in there.
Yeah, if there was a drink, it definitely spilled. As the individual who ordered the food, are you understanding in this situation, or are you a jerk that your food is a little tossed around?
I kind of feel like I would be so shocked that I would be understanding.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it's their fault.
No, absolutely not. It's just crazy. There the car comes. I mean, it's amazing she's not hurt.
I'm glad she's okay.
And she immediately goes to pick up the food. Like, honestly, I hadn't seen this video before we played it. I was worried the guy was going to drive over her because he's fleeing from police, so he clearly has no care about human life.
Right.
Good for her. She deserves a raise.
I hope, honestly, I think I would tip well. I wouldn't even be upset. I think I would be like, you know what? Here's 40% tip for that.
Well, yeah,
because you just got hit by a car and you still delivered my food.
Not everybody's so nice.
But also, it's like, yeah, she got hit by a car and she still delivered her food.
You know who needs to give her a tip? Is DoorDash.
Right.
I hope DoorDash fixes her
give
car.
that girl a raise.
Give that girl a raise. Fix her car. Maybe, give her a promotion. She could be a manager or something, because that is commitment. Commitment to the job right there. All right, this next one. Are you ready for this? A Houston woman's pole dancing ended up in disaster after the pole hit a fire sprinkler and flooded her and her neighbor's apartment. Take a look.
So keep leaning away from the pole, looking at that top wrist, and you can readjust the hands.
Whoops.
There's no way.
Aisha Gilbert was filming herself in her living room on July 6th as she followed along to a pole dance workout tutorial. Right as she begins spinning on the pole, the top dislodges from the ceiling and hits a fire sprinkler, causing water to shoot everywhere, as you can see. Wow, and it's just not stopping, is it? Oh my goodness.
Come on, dude!
Oh my. She said she was immediately in shock.
Yes.
And this cannot be happening to me. The pole was a recent addition to Gilbert's living room. She says a colleague had given it to her 3 days earlier. This was her first time trying the pole dancing workout.
Yeah. Well, it didn't go well. I hope all of her belongings and her wood and her floors are fine.
I hope she had renter's insurance.
I hope she had renter's insurance.
Are you covered if it's your pole that knocks over the fire sprinkler?
I mean, maybe if you asked your landlord, like, hey, can I put this in there? But
and also, is she going to have to start pole dancing to pay for the repairs?
She might. She might.
Carrie, you have a pole dancing story, don't
you?
Okay,
that's a horrible way to say it. I wouldn't say a pole dancing story. I would say my freshman year of college, there was a girl in my dorm who bought a stripper pole off of Amazon and had in her dorm room. And it was known as the stripper pole room.
So is that allowed in the dorms?
100% no.
And if it's bought on Amazon, is that sturdy enough to hold like a 150-pound person?
Probably not. But Yeah, I mean,
did it get use?
Oh yes, yeah, not in like a weird, crazy way, but it was like, you know, a bunch of 18-year-olds are running around a dorm, and there's a stripper pole.
And did your dorm?
So
did your, you know, what do they call them? The older kids who like staff the dorms,
like the RAs. Yeah.
Did the RA know about this?
I honestly can't remember how it went down. I feel like yes. I don't feel like it was up the entire year.
Okay.
But I can't remember. Because I didn't really know this girl super well, but everyone knew about it.
I will say this. I hope that Aisha does not give up on her pole dancing
her dreams. Don't give up on your dreams, girl.
Because it is actually a really good workout.
I was just gonna say, I've heard it's a great workout. You can take a class on like a workout class.
I know multiple people who do this workout class, and it takes intense core strength and arm strength. I just don't know if I would be doing it at home with an Amazon. I think she definitely got her pole on Amazon too.
Oh.
Oh well, no. She said
for sure.
Never mind. She said that it's
from a colleague,
coworker,
but they may have gotten it from Amazon.
This is a little added tidbit that's probably important for this story. She said when she and her friend installed it, they didn't anchor it to the ceiling. Instead, they relied on the pole's natural tension between ceiling and floor. Not advised.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Well, we've got about 20 seconds left of show, Courtney.
Well, I'm so glad that we got to share that story with you, and I'm so glad we got to hear about Kara's pole experience as well. So
I don't like that.
That'll do it for us today. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back again starting at 11. I'll take over at 2 o'clock. We hope to see you then. Bye-bye.